The views on a Breath of Fresh Air podcast reflects the parties involved, and we encourage you all to use it as a conversational tool that will lead to personal studies of your own.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Welcome to a Breath of Fresh Air podcast. Here with your hosts, Earl Roberts and Nakhaz Gay. As a young person, Christianity can be so foggy, like smoke in the mirrors and so unclear. But we're here to bring you a breath of fresh air.
The king of Assyria said, "What? Oh. I must go to the house of the Lord." Eliakim, Shebna, and all the elders and the priests. Just as I am in sackcloth, I want each and every one of you in sackcloth. And go to the prophet Isaiah, the son of Amoz, and say to him, "This is the day of trouble and of rebuke and of blasphemy. For the children are come to birth, and there is no strength to bring them forth. It may be the Lord thy God will hear all the words of Rabshakeh, whom the king of Assyria his master sent to reproach the living God, and maybe God will reprove the words which he had heard. So lift up the prayer, Isaiah, lift up a prayer to the Lord for the remnant who are left."
What do you do when the enemy's threats feel overwhelming and your strength feels small? In Isaiah 37, King Hezekiah shows us the power of prayer in the face of impossible odds. Surrounded by the mighty Assyrian army and mocked by their blasphemous words, Hezekiah doesn't turn to politics, weapons, or alliances. He turns to God. This chapter is a powerful reminder that when we humble ourselves before the Lord, He fights battles we could never win on our own. Today we'll explore Hezekiah's prayer, God's response through Isaiah, and the miraculous deliverance that proves God's sovereignty over every earthly power. As always, be blessed and enjoy. All right, welcome back to another episode of a Breath of Fresh Air podcast. Here with your hosts,
Nakhaz Gay.
Earl Roberts. Hopefully everyone out there had a great week. Hopefully this week was a little bit more peaceful than last week, but you never know. you never know. But so, yeah, where do we go from here?
I don't know. Well, I think our last week episode was pretty good. It felt good to have
it was good.
guest.
It was good. It was good. Yeah. Well, like I was telling you too, like this was like the first episode I listened to like the week it dropped in a very long time, but it was really good. The energy was good. The topic was good. The conversation was good. It was overall a good episode.
I just think like sometimes like that spark off the bench could even really help you to see things that you just wouldn't have seen or just went into. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
When I messaged with Fredo about it, he was very excited, bro. Oh man, we got so much to talk about. And I was like, bro, you know, that's pretty cool because Earl and I, we do this so much, bro. It's like you could kind of understand like what you would probably get from this, what I would probably get from this. But then we had this variable that you just cannot predict. And so it even sparked some more conversation. I had no clue. I thought we might have even went from 36 into 37, or we would have needed our devotional as well as 36 to have a good episode. But it gets to a point where like, all right, we got to end, but we going on a little long, bro. And we could keep going too.
37 long too.
Yeah. So That's a blessing, man. And yeah, hopefully we get to have some more guests, more time. And then at the same time, bro, when you're in person too, bro, it's like the energy
The energy
just
better in person, hands
yeah.
down. It's always better in person.
Yeah.
But like sometimes, like the only thing is like, our schedule don't always condone for guesses. Because me and you can
Yeah.
always hop on at any time and be like, all right, cool, we doing this tonight at such a time. When you get that third person, like, we got to work in around their schedule as well.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
that's just a big excuse. And as soon as I said, I was like, you're just making excuses, dude.
Yeah.
Just making excuses.
I feel it, but by the grace of God, I'm thankful for that last episode, bro. We had a good talk, and I think that really set up a good like groundwork for this episode as well. Isaiah 37.
Indeed. Like, yeah, it definitely did. It definitely did. Um, yeah, you want to roll into Proverbs, or you want to
Let's do
talk
it.
about
Let's do
world
Proverbs.
events, or you want to,
Oh,
we could do so
world
much.
events. World events is interesting, bro. Because
Yeah.
even at the time when we speak on this, bro, it might be old news, just how crazy the world is.
I mean, it's weird. I mean, but yeah. So the event that we're probably going to talk about most likely is the assassination that happened, which would have been this week.
Mm-hmm.
This episode coming out next week, Friday, which is still pretty fresh. And
Yeah.
it gives people time to calm down, as in emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't have to. It's
Yeah, I don't even want to, but I'll be honest. I don't want to talk about assassination, but it's too polarizing, dog. You know
it's
what I'm
very
saying?
polarizing. It's very
Too
polarizing.
polarizing. But I would say though, bro, I don't agree with such course of action in retaliation for somebody who is just speaking. You get what I'm saying? Like, and I ain't had to say whether what he was saying was right or wrong. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like everybody have their own opinion on that. But you just talking, bro. You know what I'm saying? You just talking, bro, and somebody react like that. I never like it. I don't like it when it happened to Martin Luther King. I don't like it when it happened to Huey P. Newton. You know what I'm saying? I don't like what happened to Medgar Evans. You catch what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I don't agree with that when it happened to no one, bro. You know. So
Yeah. I mean, if no one physically harmed you, you should not be killed for anything that you say.
yeah,
No matter how polarizing, no matter how much you agree or disagree, because there are things that I know I have said and done that people haven't agreed with.
yeah, Fox.
And so I would hope no one kills me for that. But yeah, I mean, here's the thing, man. To be human is to be in this life. There are going to be times where people say things that you don't agree with. There are going to be times when you say things that people don't agree with. And it takes a level of maturity to look past that hate and still to forgive your enemy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's and man, that and to me that's something seriously that I starting to like deal with more. Like, what does it truly mean to love your enemy or perceived enemy? And again, I ain't saying which one is which, right? But like right now, like we were talking about pre-pod, right? Right now, this country in particular is very, very polarized and divided for various issues. And to me, it takes a special type of love and compassion to still love some people you disagree with, the enemy, regardless. Because I mean, that is what being a Christian is.
Exactly.
Like turning the other cheek is it's a very humbling process, and it's something that takes a lot of courage and strength to treat someone differently than they are treating you.
I,
And go for it.
I personally believe that the average Christian does not agree with that text. That's my personal belief based on lived experience, right? I'm not even talking about if you put that into action. I'm talking about do you believe in that text? So throughout the Old Testament, there's a lot of things said where the average Christian does not believe that you should do, right? For instance, ceremonial cleanness, right? If you come in contact with blood, you gotta isolate yourself, you gotta wash, you gotta go see the priest, we could agree. We don't believe, the average Christian does not believe that you should practice that anymore, right? Some people love scriptural support to say why they do that, right? I found that in the turn the other cheek, bro, and I only saying this because, bro, I don't forgive people who someone could do something to me and another person. I forgive them. No, both victims here are Christian. I forgive what was done, and my other person don't forgive. And I showing them, no man, I think it's the Christ-like thing to do, and they vehemently disagree with me. No, I don't think so. I think you X, Y, Z. We have a difference of opinion. And to me, when I see it in action, bro, when I see people put to the test of this, bro, I see a lot of times where it's like, nah, bro, I can forgive people for forgivable things. You see what I'm saying? Certain things are just unforgivable, period, And so to turn the other cheek, bro, I even feel like if you talk to certain people on turn the other cheek, even if you would have talked to me in 2020 about turning the other cheek, I was showing you, bro. Bro, no, bro. No, but you can't turn the other cheek if people doing this and that, you know what I mean? And so I think that's really one of the ones where we just treat like it's Old Testament and it's outdated and all this stuff. This was done away with.
I was gonna say people is treated like the Sabbath, bro. It
Real
devil. We don't
talk,
really.
bro. Nailed
We
to the
don't.
cross, man. We nailed turned the other cheek to the cross, bro.
Yeah.
But bro, I even saw somebody remix what that even mean. For it to not be something that's passive, but to say. So basically they trying to say like, all right, so now watch this, right? If your parent reprimanding you, right? And let's say you get in a whooping, right? For those who can relate. And it's a friendly whooping. This ain't a child abuse. This not span the rod, right? Let's say you get in a whooping and you showing,
Friendly.
yeah. I trying to pacify it a little bit, right? Like, it's so funny because, but just my parents so funny, bro. If you get in a whooping, bro, you have to sell it too. You have to sell the whooping, bro. Because let's say you get in a whooping and you say, I hurt, you know, and you just showed it like, but I care, I care. Then that's an arc of defiance. So that can make them turn up a little bit, bro. I seen it happen, bro. I seen it happen, dog. So I see somebody was trying to say that's what turning the other cheek is. Somebody slap you and you're like, hit me again, but I ain't, you know what I mean? Like that's the way they spin it. I disagree with it, but I understand the analogy, you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
disagree with it because when you see the text that come with it, it say, oh, if they ask for your coat, get them your cloak too. You see what I'm
Yep.
saying? If they ask you to go 1 mile, you go the extra mile. You see what I'm saying? So I don't see that as an act of defiance. I see that as an act of even somewhat submission or even saying, bro, I plead no contest, bro. Bro, you got it. Like when somebody in the street they arguing with you even though you know you in the right, you got it, bro. That's
Yep.
to me turning the other cheek, But I agree with your sentiment. I didn't want to hijack your point,
No,
bro.
man, that's really we're a team, and I think it's very important, man, because like in today's world, even more so, it's like it's an important principle that you need to remember and keep in the forefront of your mind, because I feel like as we get closer and closer to the chaos that the world is inevitably be heading to. Like, we could read Revelation, we could go through that again, Second Thessalonians, all these different stuff we talk about, like how things gonna be in the end times, Matthew 24. But as we get ever closer to this time, there will be more and more things. Like when was that the horseman? Was that the third one when peace is taken away from the world? All I'm trying to say is, man, there's gonna be more things in this life that's gonna start offending you and hurting you, and it's
Yeah.
going to invoke a reaction from you. To me, it's almost like I use this term a lot, right? But it's almost be like testing your Christianity. And it's like, how will you hold up when your Christianity to its core is tested? And I feel like a lot of things has been happening in the last since COVID has really been testing a lot of people's Christianity,
Yep.
testing your beliefs. You know what I'm saying? Are you listening to the world? Are you listening to God? Where's your faith versus your fear index? Like there's been too much things recently that have been testing your faith versus fear index. Like, how are you reacting? Like, and to me, like all these things are just tests, but I feel like the biggest test is still yet to come. And so it's like it's really just staying grounded at the end of the day, staying grounded, not losing your principles, and just really like not really reacting to what the world is doing, but really trying to see like how should you actually process this? Because 9 times out of 10, the world isn't right.
Mm-hmm.
And
9 times out of 10. And even when they're right, they wrong sometimes too, bro. Because Rob Shakay, let's
Mhm,
make it applicable. Rob
mhm,
Shakay was right, bro. He was right. He was factually correct, but his conclusion was wrong. You see what I'm saying? So he
exactly.
was right and he was wrong. He's like, bro, but God ain't gonna save you, bro. Everybody say they God was gonna save them, bro, and we stomp all them, bro. You know what I'm saying? So why you think your God can save you? Your God is not gonna save you. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes people have the facts and the conclusion they come to, or even the way they use the conclusion. You see what I'm saying? It's wrong, bro. Straight up, bro. Like I come across a text, and I can be real. I ain't never gonna stray away from quoting Ellen.
Mhm,
It's a lot of people who have mixed opinions on them. You know what I'm saying? Everything I quote, I believe. You see what I'm saying? Like,
mhm,
but I know how people feel, so I just wanted to get up, put in front of that because I don't feel the same as everyone. But Ellen had a quote where she was talking about the social injustices during Jesus' time.
mm,
Not among the Pharisees, but the Pharisees is get all the smoke for how bad like things was. Obviously, because it's like with the police, right? You to whom much is given, much is required. You're all supposed to be the police for the law. You see what I'm saying? And so y'all should be at minimum keeping the law. So if you break the law, it's almost like, oh, but hold on, bro. You're the person who's supposed to be enforcing this, and you doing it wrong. But that's worse than like I am more offended when a police commits a crime than when a criminal commits a crime because one is expected. They both commit a crime. It's both wrong, but
mhm,
one is supposed to have some
mhm,
type of backbone or justice or whatever. But she was talking about how during Jesus' time, there was extortion from the Roman, the Roman power. There was abuse of power. They was quite literally pagans. You see what I'm saying? There was a lot of bad things that the Romans used to inflict. And that's why you had zealots. That's why it was so much of a sin to support Rome in any type of way, bro. You a tax collector, all you're doing is doing a job, bro. That's almost like being an accountant, bro. Like bills, collections, you know what I mean? That's almost like you doing that, but you're looking at like you's the greatest sinner. Because at the same time, if you collect tax for them, that means
mhm,
you helping them to rob us, number one, but you also helping to fund all of the bad things that they're gonna be doing. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, nah, you shouldn't be involved with that. That was the sentiment.
mhm.
But we didn't see Jesus parading around speaking against Rome. But I can't even think of one thing Jesus say against Rome, bro. And the Pharisees, they try to bait him. Like, bro, truly,
Many
we can
times,
find
yeah.
it. Yeah, we can find a common ground, even though we disagree theologically. We can find a common ground that we have a common enemy. And they was like, yeah, so if I only got $1 to my name, right? And I gotta pay tithes or pay taxes, what you want me to do? And Jesus said, let me see the dollar. Who won this? Caesar won this? All right, render unto Caesar what is Caesar, unto God what is God's, bro. Like straight up. Like I am not going to tell you to be rebellious, right? And this is a layered conversation, so I won't get too deep in it because obviously there's gonna be times when what is the law, right? We can see that with the mark of the beast. It's
Mhm,
going to the law is going to conflict with God's law. You see what I'm saying? So you definitely rebelling in that case, right? But Jesus wasn't just walking around like arguing, hey, this wrong, this and that, and the third, because that would be more contentious than it would be fruitful. You see what I'm saying? It's like certain battles that he fought, and I just want us as Christians to understand that as well. But with certain political hills that is not fruitful for us to continue to chase after and to have such discourse on, bro, because it's like it's really just that argumentative spirit, bro, that debate spirit, that competitive spirit, and it ain't really getting through to people half of the time because everybody have their opinions, bro. I don't like to me, I should be able to share my opinion with you, and we ain't debating, bro.
just
I'm
having a
sharing my
discussion.
opinion. We have a discussion. This why I believe this way. You believe that way. And when I realize that you feel like how you feel, I feel like how I feel. All right, bro. That's my time, bro. Like it ain't really too much of debate. But when we position ourselves to be contrarians, bro. I see Christians on YouTube, bro, they go in Times Square or wherever, or they go in this high densely like Islamic populated part of the United States, and they just want to debate Islam versus Christ. You know what I'm saying? And at first I used to be excited about it because I like, yeah, bro, somebody who just really an apologist, but it's like, bro, these things just get contentious because y'all ain't nobody listening to each other, bro. This one of them ones for sure, ain't nobody. You're not converting the Islamic person not converting you, bro. Y'all have y'all beliefs, bro, and y'all just coming around for lack of better words. Bro. Anyway, bro, like, just go to say, bro, Jesus could have argued way more than he did, bro, and he did not. You know what I'm saying?
No, I 100% agree, and this reminds me of I was watching another podcast like 2 weeks ago, right? It was this guy's an atheist. He's like a philosopher atheist, right? And he obviously has his views on the Bible and things. He believes Christians got getting correct. Right? Naturally, I don't agree with his science and points, right? But like on the podcast, they was like, oh, we need to set up a debate between you and what's your boy who gone viral at the beginning of this year? Name again, the Canadian boy. Wes Huff. He was like, there's like, oh, you need to set up a debate between you and Wes Huff. And he was like, respectfully, like, I don't want to debate Wes Huff. He said, I want to have a, he said, no, but he said, I want to have a discussion with Wes Huff. He said, the minute we call it a debate, it's not going to be fruitful anymore because he's going to have his points. I'm going to have my points, and we're not going to be listening. We're just going to be trying to get our points across and just shoot down at the other person's points. He said, I don't want to have that. I don't want to have a debate, but I do want to have a discussion with him where we can actually talk and reason about why he believes this and why I believe this, and not just trying to get gotcha moments. And I was like, huh.
There's someone who sense, bro.
And I was like, wait, like it get me, right? Because like at first I was like, yeah, I was debate. I was like, yeah, I want to have this debate. Yeah. And when he said that, I was like, you're right. You're right. And here's the thing, right? Because like me, I like hearing out both sides, right? But at the same time too, when you debate, like if I'm debating someone, it's not a listening art. It's not a listening thing. It's really and truly a prideful thing because you want to be right.
100, and you gotta sell it too.
You gotta sell it. You gotta be right, and then at the same time, you're trying to belittle the other person.
Yeah.
In a respectful way, but you're trying to belittle the other person because essentially, I'm smart, you're dumb. You come up with this point. Oh, how could you even believe that was a hoax? I got it right here in Biblical Sinaiticus. You know what I'm saying? Wow. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're trying to belittle the other person at the end of the day. And it reminds me of where is it in anyway, if you don't, even though you have the truth, you're nothing but if you have the truth and not love,
I speak with the tongues of men.
Exactly. Yeah, you're a clanking cymbal. Yeah. And to me, it's like you could apply that into the debate realm even more. You might have all the truth in the world, but you're not packaging it with love. You're packaging it with pride. And at the end of the day, you're actually doing more harm than good because now this person might have just heard the truth, but they left getting cut by they left getting cut by your words and not the truth. You know what I'm saying? So now they're hurt, but they're not hurt by anything that, like, they're not hurt by the conviction of God. They're hurt by how you made them feel.
1 Corinthians 13.
Yeah. 1 Corinthians, yeah. I know it was a C, right? But Chronicles was coming to my head because of what we actually about to talk about. It's not Chronicles. It's not Chronicles. Like, what's the next C one? There was a Colossians. Like, Colossians don't have a first. I was going through it in my brain just now. But yeah, man, like, and that's the interesting thing, and I think that's the things that Christians don't think about as well. And man, I can hear the next side of it talking about, oh, that's why you guys so passive, yada 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 yada. But my end of the day is like, what is the main mission here? Our main mission is to plant the seeds and let the Holy Spirit do the work, and not be trying to blatantly convince others and belittle them into the word, because to your original point too, that wasn't what Jesus was doing. And Jesus had multiple opportunities to do this. Jesus was using his words with love to help convict other people. He wasn't trying to belittle anyone. He wasn't belittling the Pharisees. We might say he was using a very smart and eloquent way of speaking, but we don't have instances in the Bible where Jesus was debating any Pharisees, bro. He wasn't there. He wasn't going in the synagogue saying, open up Isaiah. Let me tell you all exactly what this is, because you're all dumb, y'all don't understand. He wasn't doing that. Jesus was preaching the word of his Father in a way that people could understand. Who are they? Let them hear. You know what I'm saying? And to me, that's a lesson we all just missed. I wouldn't say
Bro,
we lost a lesson I probably missed. You know what I'm saying? Because there
bro,
are
see,
people out there smarter than me.
but that's what I saying though, bro. It's even to the turn the other cheek thing, bro. You and I, bro, if me and you talk long enough, we will admit that we don't turn the other cheek, or we're not prepared to turn the other cheek in this scenario, or in such and such a scenario. You
Oh,
catch what I'm
bro.
saying? If me and you talk long enough, bro, you would say you would be like, I'd be like, yeah, bro. So that's why I flicking, I in the street, and this boy he just walk up and slap me, like literally slap me, right? Like he literally slapped me, right? And I say, boy, everything cool. What would you think would be the natural reaction if you tell your friend that even if there's a Christian, he said, "You won't do nothing." You catch what I'm saying? Like that's just how it is, bro. Like it like we don't like it's like it's so wrong to us to let something go. You see what I'm saying? It's wrong to let it go, and it does not feel right for what it's worth, bro. It does not feel right to I let more things go in my life than I wanted to, bro. And half the time I wasn't turning the other cheek. Half the time I just was being smart, like, bro. This ain't, but ain't nothing good could come from this if I retaliate, bro. You see
There'll
what
be
I'm
some
saying?
serious
It
ramifications
could
for
be
your
serious
actions.
ramifications, bro. Even for my actions, it could be some ramifications, bro. So I can let it go, bro. And that wasn't me. That wasn't me being Christ-like, bro. That was me not wanting to go to jail or not wanting to have a prolonged vibe with somebody, whatever. But it's like you get into a discussion with someone say something blatantly wrong. But you know what? You gotta check them, bro. People don't even want to turn the other cheek verbally sometimes, bro. You see what I'm saying? No, but I gotta put that in place, bro. Man, you know
Exactly.
me. I used to be in these YouTube streets, bro. I don't even debate on Twitter and Facebook. YouTube, boy, I used to be all up in them comments, bro. But it just showed me, bro, no matter how calm, bro, no matter how much facts you provide, how much evidence you provide to someone, bro, some people can get offended no matter what. But people you even call me dumb, bro. I was trying to show somebody was trying to ridicule me for I read a comment. My own comment. I wasn't replying to no one, right? Somebody come on there trying to rat me, trying to diss me. I say honestly, I don't really see what the big laughing point is about that you laughing at for real. I have my opinion. Share yours. Like I trying to challenge you to intellectually respond to me, bro. You
Mhm.
know? And I say, bro, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't, we just having a discussion, bro. We ain't gotta get like funny and thing. And what? No, Jesus laughed at people all the time, bro. Jesus laughed, bro. Your boy say Jesus laughed at the man who's caught in the act of adultery with with um with her
With
when
the
he
woman at
when
the
he
well.
wrote, yeah, with the women that when he wrote in the
Your
thing, and he
son,
said
yeah.
he did either without sin
Sin
cast
cast the first stone, yeah.
right. And he was trying to say Jesus was being like he was being I can't. He was trying to be like Jesus was trying to be funny toward them, right? And I was like, bro, what? What are you talking about? I was like, bro, okay, let me show you. I show him in Deuteronomy, bro. I say, bro, you need witnesses, bro. If you catch somebody in a sin, you got to be the first one to initiate. You got to be the witness. It need to be two or three witness number one, and then you have to cast. You have to be to initiate the stoning, bro. You
Mhm.
as the witness, right? So he was trying to say, hey, who among y'all? He's saying, okay, yeah, I find this woman guilty. Now, by the law, which y'all want to keep so bad, y'all initiated. And it was
Mhm.
irony because they was also guilty. You see what I'm saying? And it's like, and I say there's also an alternative view to that hey, they probably realized that they too have committed sins punishable by death that they had already, because Jesus wrote something in the Psalm. We don't know what he wrote in the Psalm. Jesus could have been
Mhm.
writing out their sins too. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And then they realized, okay, yeah, all right, I can let it dead. Anyway, I say all that to say I answer and do chill, bro. I don't like to argue the Bible. I would love to discuss it. I would love to discuss it. But when you trying to be funny and thing like that, that is yuck up my vexation too easy, bro. You see what I'm saying? So I just be trying to pacify the situation. And and sometimes it don't work. Sometimes the person just offended no matter what you say. But I remember one time I was having a debate on the Sabbath, and this boy was saying how, bro, show me in the text where they say where they command to keep the Sabbath. I said, bro, I ain't gonna show. I can't. I say I can show you where God commanded to keep the Sabbath in the New Testament. I can show
Mhm.
you where God commanded to keep the Sabbath, bro. And I can show you where in the New Testament people kept the Sabbath. I show them all through Acts. Oh, see, Paul is in the synagogue on the Sabbath, as was his custom. You know who else custom it was? Jesus to be in the synagogue. What is the difference between them? One was under the law and one was not, but they still have the same custom, bro. And to show you the consistency there. And we agree to disagree. And I say, bro, I can be honest with you, bro. I have my beliefs, you have yours. I agree to disagree. And the dude would say, no, we ain't agreeing to this. But your boy tell me no, bro. And this really pissed me off, bro. He say, no, we can't agree to disagree. He
Oh,
say,
wow.
no, we can't agree to disagree. This is a salvation issue, bro.
Oh,
And you
wow.
can be lost based on your opinion. And I would hate for you on Judgment Day to tell God that you agree to disagree with him, right? And I say,
It's like, in an isolated sense, I do respect that thought, but
I respect the thought because I feel the same way about you, bro. I feel the same way. That's what tripped me out. I was like, bro, this low-key one of my moves right now. I never say that to someone, but I always feel that way. I always feel the same way that you feeling, bro. You feel it about me.
my boy hit you with the Uno reverse card. You didn't know
Yeah,
what
he
to do with
did the
it.
one reverse, bro. He like, bro, I could be honest with you, bro. This deeper than you think, bro. They say no, agree to disagree, bro. This is salvation, and you need to get this right, bro. That's what he's trying to show me. And I was like, bro, you so barking up the wrong tree because, like, to me, even if it was a salvation issue, think about what you're saying, bro. There's a command that say, keep the Sabbath. There are some people that believe you don't have to, right? But there's nowhere that say keeping it is a sin. You see what I'm saying? Keeping it is not a sin, but keeping it cannot be a sin. You see what I'm saying? So now you telling me my salvation might be at stake for keeping it. But I'm like, it can't be. It's like someone saying, bro, hey, you could fill up your tank or you could only put a gallon in. That's all you need for this journey. And I say, anyway, I can fill it up anyway.
Fill it up just to be safe.
I can fill it up just to be safe, bro. Like, there's no consequence to filling it up, bro.
And your boy say, nah, bro, you only need a gallon. What you doing?
Gallon, bro. You need a gallon only, bro.
Wow.
So,
Wowza.
yeah. Sorry to do that to y'all. I know y'all probably waited with bated breath to hear Proverbs. I don't even know.
But at this point, we just jumping into Isaiah again, bro. We done like 20-something minutes in, bro.
Real. 2 weeks in a row.
That was the intro right now. That was the weekly thought. I mean, but ultimately, I mean, just to summarize this, it's like, just like don't forget your Christian values and don't let people tempt you out of your spot. I mean, I think that's kind of what I get from it, man, because the world's just so polarizing these days. There's going to be more and more and stuff to come and test you. There's going to be more things where the devil just tries to get you. There's going to be more things where I would say seems like a gray line and you're just confused spiritually on which side you should lean on. And I think in times like these is when you need to read the Bible even more, consult with people who you trust even more, and pray together, pray for each other, and strengthen each other, and be there for each other. Because I mean, I don't sound grim, but it ain't like the world getting any brighter. You know what I'm saying? Like the Bible itself tells you things are gonna like where the world is heading and the path where the world is on. So it's just like be there for one another. I mean, because right now these are really trying times. Every week it's something different. Every day it's something different. And on top of our own personal struggles that we're going through in life. So
that's the crazy thing, bro.
Yeah, gotta stay prayed up, my friend.
Amen.
All right, so this week we're in Isaiah chapter 37. Last episode, we went through where the Assyrian army essentially sent an envoy to Israel. And long story short, they were essentially saying, hey, look around at the devastation we've already caused, the cities that we've already conquered, the nations that have already fallen prey to us. You guys have put your faith in Israel and your trust in and trust in Egypt. And those guys are not reliable. They are not faithful. And you guys are fools. You guys need to come and subjugate yourselves to us. And we will essentially be your protection. We will give you guys the good land flowing of milk and honey, like your own. But we'll give you another one.
Yeah, we can supply that for you.
Exactly. And essentially your God will not protect you. Do not listen to your King Hezekiah saying that the Lord will be there for you and that the Lord will deliver you. That's not going to happen. Look at all these other nations that we have conquered. Where were their gods when we came? They all had gods. They all said their gods would protect them, and none of that happened. What makes you think you would be any different? And then the Israelites delegation, which was comprised of Elikim, Shebna, and Joah, they didn't respond.
Zipped it.
They kept it quiet,
And now that's where we're picking up. And again, these chapters also mirror the account we see in Second Kings, chapter 18 and 19.
18, yeah, and Second Chronicles chapter 32.
Perfect. All right, so let's get it. So chapter 37, and so it was when King Hezekiah heard it, that he tore his clothes, covered himself with sackcloth, and went to the house of the Lord. Then he sent Eliakim, who was over the household, Shebna the scribe, and the elders of the priests covered with sackcloth to Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amos, and said to him, Thus says Hezekiah, this is the day of trouble and rebuke and blasphemy, for the children have come to birth, but there is no strength to bring them forth. It may be that the Lord your God will hear the words of the Rabshakeh, whom his master, the king of Assyria, has sent to reproach the living God, and will rebuke the words which the Lord your God has heard. Therefore, lift up your prayer for the remnant that is left. So, you got anything on that?
Yeah. So I just assume that if this is your first episode, obviously that context is important, right? So we gave context on what happened last week, but just a little context on Isaiah and Hezekiah. Isaiah is obviously the prophet. He'd been the prophet from even before Hezekiah, from I guess Hezekiah's father.
Yeah, Ahaz.
Ahaz. And Hezekiah is now a righteous king after a very wicked king. You see what I'm saying? And Hezekiah, he did a lot of work to clean up the city. We breaking down the idols as much as possible. We reinstating the Passover. The Passover had not been done since David, I believe, and he reinstated the Passover. And when you read Second Chronicles chapter 32, they say after these acts of faithfulness, Sennacherib, king of Assyria, came and invaded Judah and besieged the fortified cities. That was last week.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a king where he was the most righteous out of all the kings post David. Since the split of the northern and southern kingdom, this is the most righteous king we had seen. He had a lot of cleaning up to do because of the wickedness of his forefathers, and he made one or two missteps where he paid off the Assyrians, and then he reneged. He stopped paying them off, and now we at the point where they already losing this battle, and it seems like all hope is lost. And so after Rabshakeh in last episode taunt them so much, they didn't respond. You see what I'm saying? But now they need a word from God. They saying, if I hear this was crazy to me. Hopefully God hear it and God want to protect us or defend us. But how we even gonna know if he do it? If how we even gonna know how God feel? Let's go to the prophet. You know? And so that's my only comments on it really.
Bro, that line get me, bro. Like, but the children have come to birth, but there's no strength to bring them forth. Bro, like, just picture this now, and this is a terrifying scene, right? Because again, he trying to say how bad this day is. This is the day of trouble and rebuke and of blasphemy. Like, of back in the days, like nowadays we have modern medicine, all this kind of stuff, right? But back in the day, bro, the woman was so exhausted from all the cramps and everything at night. There were times when the female literally had no more strength to push to deliver the baby. And in times like that, both the mother and the child would die. And so he painted this picture like, yo, we are so desperate right now because all the other cities have been sacked. We're essentially under siege. And that's why he's saying, yo, lift up a prayer for the remnant that is left, because right now the remnant that is left is Jerusalem. And it's just pretty dire. And to your point, he's saying like, yo, this almost reminds me of David and Goliath, right? Like, yo, this guy is speaking like just pure blasphemies. And like we painted it in last week's episode, right? He's essentially like using the words of the prophet and twisting them and saying, put your faith in us and not your God. Your God can't deliver you. and all these type of stuff. And Hezekiah is like, well, we're between a rock and a hard place. We are literally between a rock and a hard place. We have no more allies.
Mm.
The most powerful nation is at our doorstep, literally. God, you are the only one who can help us. We literally have nowhere else to turn.
That's the best way to put it, because last episode, I want to just tell a quick story.
Go for it.
I am superstitious in the sense that when someone is too proud, there's a feeling in me that they're not gonna win, right? A lot of times I'm wrong in sports. Like you watch boxing, the proud, oh, I'm gonna this and that, they still win. So a lot of times, you know what I'm saying? But it's not apples to apples. But I know for a fact, when I'm too proud, I usually lose. When I get too proud, I stop concentrating on the game, whatever. So while I on this journey to get better at basketball now that I'm probably like 80% good with my leg. And so I play basketball every week. And when I first started playing, I was so bad that it would really hurt my confidence, bro. Like I was scared to jump. I was missing shots. I just didn't have my rhythm or confidence. And that happens. But I started playing more, and I'm getting better. I'm still not good, in my opinion. I feel like I suck still, but I was playing. I try to overcome my fears, but like, bro, if you scared to lose, the only way to get over that is we running into this, bro. We are, we getting ahead of it. I was playing ones with this dude. We shot around for like an hour and a half. Dude could shoot, bro. Could shoot, dog. We both middle-aged men, out of shape, but he could shoot. We got to playing, and I didn't want to play because it was already an hour. I was already kind of tired, and I don't put too much stress on my leg. And I say, you know what, I'll play, man. I'll play. So we play. I win the first game. But you could see he was like going easy on me. And I tell him, I said, bro, I don't want to play too hard, bro. I recovering from a knee injury too. But the second game, it's like every athlete, you like, okay, you ain't gonna beat me twice. Now it's time to turn up on you, right? So, but he started turning up on me. He's going to 11. He had 10, I had like 3. No, he had 9 and I had 3. So it's like one more 3-pointer, because 3s is 2s. He would have been the game. Bro, I started turning up now. I said, okay, I'm going to exude every bit of energy in my body to not lose 11-3. You catch what I say? I'm like, bro, I don't even care if I'm going to lose because I'm so tired. Bro, I go up, like, no cap, bro. I go up 7-10. Oh, 7-10, bro, and I miss. He get the ball, 3-point line, he shoot the shot, game. He said it audibly, game, right? And it was at that moment, I knew that was a miss. And like, when I tell you this dude can shoot, I say, no, man, getting cocky. I say, this the pride right here. I say, bro, I knew for a fact he was going to miss me. Now, it happens all the time. People say game and it goes in, but it's how he say it. I was like, because he was too thirsty for the win, bro. Because I had already beat him.
Cause was like, no, this ain't going to happen like this.
Yeah, because when I beat him the first time, he was kind of shocked. You see what I'm saying? He was kind of shocked. And so the second time, he was like, because you can tell he thinks he's better than me. And he probably is better than me, bro, but not that day. Because when he shoot that shot, he said game. I said, bro, in my mind, I was like, bro, you're going to lose, bro. Because like it's the pride thing. I don't know if it's because like in the Bible, you see, the Bible says pride goes before the fall, right? But then you also see where a lot of proud people, their destruction comes after their pride or whatever, you know? And this is a micro thing. But so he missed the shot. I hit a 3-pointer, so now it's like 9-9, right? And then he gave me the ball again, and I had the 3-point shot, and he walked away. I said, bro, I have to shoot this, bro. You're leaving me wide open. I have to shoot this, and I shot him, and I went in, and I won the game or whatever. So last week we talking about Abreathoffreshairpodcast, and Abreathoffreshairpodcast is talking so much junk.
Spicy.
He's talking so much junk that I started to separate myself from the story. I know how the story is going to end. I started to separate myself, and I said, bro, this dude is going to lose. Because you're just talking, like, it's just the amount of pride. I'm like, bro, there's no way you win. And I'll be honest,
my rules, like my theory is not 100%. It might not even be 50% because a lot of, bro, you watch basketball, you watch football, all these, bro, a lot of proud people win, bro.
But the funny thing about it is like, and I do agree with your sentiments, but it's like, think about the Hezekiah, right?
Mhm.
Think about how much other nations he done do this to when he came to boss.
Mm-hmm. Have to be.
And that's the funny thing about it, like he ain't talking from, it ain't like he wasn't guessing.
Yeah, he wasn't like exaggerating it.
He wasn't guessing, he wasn't exaggerating. It's like we know it only because an act of God is why
Mhm.
it didn't, what he said didn't come to pass. But it's yeah, he was very cocky. He was very blasphemous. Same with Goliath.
Same
Like,
thing with Goliath.
and like again, because Goliath knew like, y'all can't beat me.
But if I could be honest about Goliath died like a fool, bro.
Oh yeah,
To
no,
me,
Goliath was extra. I wasn't taking off my helmet.
bro,
I wasn't
bro,
taking off my helmet. What you
bro,
mean?
you look
No,
like a
but
fool, bro.
you gonna
You know
have
what I
to
mean?
earn this.
Bro, that's what I'm saying. I'm just like, bro, like to me, it's always most embarrassing. And you like, oh, this child's play. And like I let down my defenses because I don't care, and then you lose. To
Mm-hmm.
me, that's more embarrassing than you taking it seriously with somebody and they still beating you fair and square, bro. You know, like you look dumb, bro. Like respectfully,
Yeah,
but that's a fear of mine, bro. I don't like to be in them situations where I got too much dip on my chip and then it blow back in my
you end
face.
up looking dumb. But so that was that, right? So now, but going back to verse 5. So the servants of King Hezekiah came to Isaiah, and Isaiah said to them, "Thus you shall say to your master, Thus says the Lord, do not be afraid of the words which you have heard, with which the servants of the king of Assyria have blasphemed me. Surely I will send a spirit upon him, and he shall hear a rumor and return to his own land, and I will cause him to fall by the sword of his own hand." Then the Rob returned and found the king of Assyria warring against Libnah, for he had heard that he had departed from Lachish. And then the king heard concerning was this
Yeah,
Tirhakah,
yeah.
king of Ethiopia. He has come out to make war with you. So when he heard it, he sent messages to Hezekiah, saying, Thus you shall speak to Hezekiah, king of Judah, saying, Do not let your God, in whom you trust, deceive you, saying, Jerusalem shall not be given into the hand of the king of Assyria. Look, you have heard of what the kings of Assyria have done to all the lands by utterly destroying them, and shall you be delivered? Have the gods of the nations delivered those whom my fathers have destroyed? Gozan and Haran and Respah and the people of Eden who were in Telasar? Where is the king of Amath, the king of Arpad, the king of the city of Sirhaviam, Hena, and Eva? And Hezekiah received a letter from the hand of the messengers and read it. And Hezekiah went up to the house of the Lord and spread it before the Lord. Then Hezekiah prayed to the Lord, saying, O Lord of hosts, God of Israel, the one who dwells between the cherubim, you are God, you alone, of all the kingdoms of the earth. You have made heaven and earth. Incline your ear, O Lord, and hear. Open your eyes, O Lord, and see. And hear all the words of Sennacherib, which he has sent to reproach the living God. Truly, Lord, the king of Assyria have laid waste all the nations and their lands, and have cast their gods into the fire. For they were not gods, but the work of man's hands, wood and stones. Therefore they destroyed them. Now, therefore, O Lord our God, save us from his hand, that all the kings of the earth may know that you are the Lord, you alone. Whew.
So you see where they say,
Mm-hmm.
this is what I was trying to reconcile. In verse 7, it says, Surely I will send a spirit upon him, and he shall hear a rumor and return to his own land, and I will cause him to fall by the sword in his own land. Right?
Yeah.
Then in verse 8, it say, Rabshakeh returned and found the king of Assyria warring against Libnah. Right? For he heard that he had departed from Lachish. So we know based on last episode that this Rabshakeh them was arguing in Lachish. They was
Mm-hmm.
in Lachish. And the king had already returned and started warring against Libnah. And do you think the rumor that he heard made him return to war against Libnah? Or are they talking about later on when he returned? You know what I'm saying? Because also I was wondering what the rumor was, because you know, Rob Shakay said he heard that he returned, he departed. You see what I'm
I
saying?
think it was like when he heard like the king from Ethiopia was coming to make war with him.
That's probably, yeah. Okay, so that I wonder, because it say that he could die, right? He would fall by the sword in his own line.
Yeah.
And so obviously in verse 9, when they mention Ethiopia, he didn't die there. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? He's gonna die later or whatever. But I was wondering when the rumor, when we think, because it's probably this, because later on it ain't no rumor. You had a real reason to leave or whatever. But okay, yeah, that was cool. So it's funny to me because two things happening. Rob Shakay coming to give back the report on what happened, and he see your boy warring against someone else now. He like, all right, you done abandoning the war with Egypt, and are you fighting against someone else? And that's where Sennacherib is like, okay, we need to actually seal the deal. So I want you to go back to him and say, bro, do not let your God deceive you, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, because I need you, like, I'm gonna send you back to literally say the same thing you just say, because it's like I I taking on a new battle right
Yeah,
now.
I
So
have
let
too
me
much
just,
other stuff going on.
yeah, I got other stuff going on, bro. Just seal that deal. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
and and he say, look, you have heard what the kings of look, you have heard what the kings of Assyria have done to the lands. Um, have the gods of the nation delivered those whom my fathers have destroyed? Gozan, Haram, and Rezeph. And no. I was looking for later on when they was talking about Hamath
For
and
13.
Arpad, verse 13. Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. All right, cool. Um, this is literally Syria. These are Hamath is a city in Syria. You catch what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So he quite literally is referencing, I think that's chapter 7, when remember the Syrians and the Israelites was warring against Judah, when Ahaz called Assyria and say, "Hey, help me to fight against them," and Assyria did just that, and he defeated them, right?
Mhm.
And so now he's recalling that. He was like, yeah, my fathers them, they wage war against XYZ, and their gods didn't help them, you know. And it's funny because these this you throwing it back in my face. I call y'all to help me. You see what I'm saying? Y'all beat them. Obviously, we couldn't have do it then, and we can't beat them now. And you throwing it back and say, bro, think about it. Think about what's happening, bro. We beat your enemies who you couldn't beat. Their gods ain't help them. You see what I'm saying? Think about what I am telling you, bro. Cheapest you, just surrender, bro. It just makes too much sense for you to surrender,
Mhm.
you know? Like, why y'all being so hard-headed, bro? Like let's just make it easy on everybody, you know? Um, yeah.
It's very cool too, bro. Like, yeah, and it's so interesting, right? Your boy was like, yeah, these other gods, they wasn't really gods. Now, is your god any different?
Hmm.
It's all, oh boy, just trying to demoralize them, man.
Yeah, they doing a good job too, because it's working.
And you
Because
gotta go
they
for it.
already say Hezekiah heart sink when he hear all this stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, because here's the thing, bro. Like, war, like even in ancient times, bro, even like we doing a siege, that's still pretty costly for our army too, because you have the manpower there stationed who ain't fighting, but just to block off everything from y'all too.
Mhm.
See, so it ain't like you could just send a couple of people. You have to send like almost to send like over like the oversize of an army just to stay there and surround y'all to make sure everything is blocked. So that these are forces where I am actively at war, right? So these are forces I am actively at war that ain't fighting.
Hmm.
They just did a
Yeah.
block y'all to make y'all surrender. Where I need these people in battle, so it would help me drastically if y'all just bow down, because that way I don't gotta fight y'all and I can use my troops
Mhm.
to come help me fight this war that I'm actually needing manpower for. So which verse we in now? Verse 8. Oh no, verse
Oh,
21. I
yeah.
was like, 8 don't sound right. All right. Then Isaiah son of Amos sent to Hezekiah, saying, thus says the Lord God of Israel, because you have prayed to me against Sennacherib, king of Assyria, this is the word which the Lord has spoken concerning him. The The virgin, the daughter of Zion, has despised you, laughed you to scorn. The daughter of Jerusalem has shaken her head behind your back. Whom have you reproached and blasphemed? Against whom have you raised your voice and lifted up your eyes on high against the Holy One of Israel? By your servants you have reproached the Lord and said, by the multitude of my chariots I have come up to the height of the mountains, to the limits of Lebanon. I will cut down all its tall cedars and its choice cypress trees. I will enter its farthest height. Through the fruitful forest I have dug and drunk water, and with the soles of my feet I have dried up all the brooks of defense. Did you not hear long ago how I made it? From ancient times that I formed it? Now I have brought it to pass that you should be for crushing fortified cities into heaps of ruins. Therefore their inhabitants had little power. They were dismayed and confounded. They were as the grass of the field and the green herb, as the grass of the housetops, and green blighted before it's grown. But I know your dwelling place, your going out and your coming in, and your rage against me. Because your rage against me and your tumult have come up to my ears. Therefore I will put my hook in your nose and my bridle in your lips, and I will turn you back by the way which you came. This shall be a sign to you, that this shall be a sign to you. You shall eat this year such as grows of itself, and the second year which springs up from the seam. Also in the third year sow and reap, plant vineyards and eat the fruit of them. And the remnant who have escaped from the house of Judah shall again take root downward and bear fruit upward. For out of Jerusalem shall go a remnant, and those who escape from Mount Zion, the zeal of the Lord of hosts will do this. Therefore, thus says the Lord concerning the king of Assyria, he shall not come into this city, nor shoot an arrow there, nor come before it with shield, nor build a siege mound against it. By the way, by the way that he came, he shall return. By the same he shall return, and he shall not come into this city, says the Lord, for I will defend this city and save it, for my own sake and for my servant David's sake. I'm gonna just finish it up and we can just finish off the chapter. Then the angel of the Lord went out and killed the camp of the Assyrians, 185,000. And when people arose early in the morning, there were corpses all dead. So Sennacherib, king of Assyria, departed and went away, returned home, and remained in Nineveh. Now it came to pass as he was worshipping in the house of Nishrosh, his god, that his sons, Adremelech and Sharezer, struck him down with the sword, and they escaped into the land of Ararat. Then Esarhaddon, his son, reigned in his place.
Mercy. Yeah, so that cleared it up for me because whenever I read verse 36, I always thought that they was encamped around the city at the time when they was dropped dead. You know what I'm saying? Like they was about to siege, and then they the next morning they was all dead. But no, they didn't. They wasn't even. They had already left, and God was basically saying, "Yeah, they ain't coming back. They ain't coming back." You see what I'm saying? And so that rumor, it was confirmed to be in verse 8 or so, 8 or 9, that he had already come back to war against who they say? They say
Libna?
Libna. He was warring against Libna, and then even there's people, the Ethiopian people, everything was concerning them. He was trying to be like what Nebuchadnezzar ended up doing, bro. Y'all was just trying to conquer everyone, but you ain't even pace yourself out, bro. You
Man, Ethiopia been around long too, man.
Yeah, bro. Like Ethiopia is mentioned in the book of Genesis, but like it was a person, and that's probably what it's named after. And Egypt.
Yeah, Egypt. They just like mentioned Mount Ararat in this picture, and like that's still in Turkey today. And Mount Ararat was where the ark rested.
Hmm.
Like, bro, these things just been around like forever, bro. You know what I mean? Like, that's just wild.
Yeah. No, I don't think Ethiopia was a person. It's maybe Egypt that I just was thinking about.
Either way, like these like nations and things just been around forever with the same names. Bro, like Mount Ararat, all these years ain't even get renamed. Some of the cities you just was mentioned about ain't never get renamed. Like is you know what I'm saying? Like it's just impressive.
Yeah, it's impressive. And I actually wish nothing got renamed. I wish everything just had their name. But
Because even
obviously,
in this chapter when they say like, oh, some people live in Eden, I was like, Eden?
yeah, I was thinking that too.
Like,
I was like,
is this the historical Eden? Obviously, like God needed ain't there no more. But like,
yeah. I was like, Eden. Yeah, I actually didn't look into it, but because obviously the Garden of Eden was
yes,
taken over.
yeah, it's no more.
Yeah, but yeah, bro. So by the grace of God, and it's funny because this has been prophesied so many times in this book already. God had already prophesied deliverance of Judah, number one, right? Then they also prophesied the destruction of Assyria, number two. You know what I mean? And so at the turning point of this chapter, I would say is when Hezekiah said that, they have been brought to labor, and this day is a day of trouble and rebuke and blasphemy, for the children have come to birth, but there's no strength to bring forth, bro. And that's so crazy because it just reminds me of like when you anticipate a day. It's like when Job said, the thing that I had dreaded the most has happened to me. You know, everybody that in every kingdom, one day we might come to war. It might get to that. Is this inevitable doom that may happen? And it has come. It has been prophesied to have happened, and now in the day that has happened, we are not strong. We don't have the defense. We are scared,
Mm-hmm.
and death is imminent. You know, and what they do as a result of that, they turn to God. And previous kings would have turned to someone else or would have just paid the fine.
Mm-hmm.
If that's the case, we just paid the fine and not for nothing. People already died. They captured several cities already in Judah. You know what I'm saying? This was just the main city and the last city that if I capture you, y'all just could be serving me. And not to be ignored. And if so, this Second Kings chapter 19, that is a direct parallel. But if we go to Second Kings chapter 17, Israel had been completely wiped out already. And
Mm-hmm.
it was so crazy because they wipe out Israel and they put Babylonians in Israel, right? And remember, God was saying how all the animals and stuff like that could be roaming the streets and XYZ, but like we see they completely desolated Israel. They put Babylonians there, and that was the story. Remember that story when it's like the wild lions came and was,
Yeah.
was was killing people, and it was like, oh, y'all defied the gods of the land, and it's so funny because it's like everything was so spiritual. People trusted everyone's gods, but no one ever really stopped and say, oh, this God is the real God. This the serious God that no God can. This the God of gods. And even now, like we don't have like this text, and I don't think we hear about Sennacherib no more. But we don't hear that he say, "Bro, this was the true God," or "Bro, this is crazy." You know what I'm saying? Because in real life, what would have happened? They probably had a plague that strike them all by night. You know what I'm saying? Um,
I mean, that did
or
happen. Like
yeah,
legitimately.
yeah, like a plague, right? But that's how you rationalize it. It wasn't that God strike them down. It was that, oh no, everybody was bitten by this mosquito and everyone catch malaria or something.
Well,
You know what I
but
mean?
it's like over one night. That's just the crazy part about it, right? Because they said that they were killed 100 in that night.
In
Like 185 people,
185,000.
5,000 dying in one night, bro. That's the angel of death, bro. That's
Yeah,
like
for
this
sure.
reminiscent of
Egypt.
Egypt. You know what I'm saying? The last plague. Nah, if it was like over a month time, sure. But in one night, 185 of y'all
Yeah.
just died, bro. Like something was in the water, bro.
This is so much parallels between Sennacherib or even Rabshakeh and Egypt, bro, and the plagues because what God say? God say something, but they throw where he's talking about they throw them in the fire, the false gods.
Bro.
Excuse me.
185,000 people in one night, bro. That's like literally half of the population of the Bahamas, bro.
Yep.
That's like no one else on the bro. No one else on the out islands, and like half a Nassau population dead, bro.
That would be crazy, bro.
That is what happened that one night. Just for perspective.
Yeah, that's crazy. So watch this, right? Verse 18. Truly, Lord, the kings of Assyria. Wait. No. That ain't what I wanted to say. Oh, yeah. That's the one. This one Hezekiah talking. He said, "Truly, the king of Assyria have laid waste all the nations and their lands, and have cast their gods into the fire, for they were not gods, but the work of men's hands wood and stone. Therefore, they have destroyed them. Now, therefore, Lord our God, save us from his hand, that all the kingdoms of the earth may know that you are the Lord, you alone." That is directly. That is the direct the direct scenario or circumstance that God saved Egypt out of the land of Israel out of the land of Egypt during the days of Moses. There were so many false gods, there were so many idols, and God needed to make himself known to Egypt and everybody. And that's why when they was when the Battle of Jericho came, Rahab was like, "Bro, we know about your gods, bro. We know about your God, bro. Like, we know the story about how he carry on when it come to Egypt, and that's why she surrendered." And Hezekiah is basically praying to God, saying, "God, days when they come into the lands, they destroy all these gods. They don't have no respect for gods, right? But you need to show them that you're the God of gods, bro. If you destroyed them, you would make it known to the kingdoms of the world that you do not play." You see what I'm saying? And that's what we saw when the plagues came. Water turned into blood. All these things never happened before, bro, and it never happened again. And it's like I make a grand entrance to let y'all know who Yahweh is, bro. You know, and
Oh, give me one second. Let me just pause.
so yeah, we see that God at any given time, is willing to show out on our behalf and basically start on business and just represent who he is, bro. And I think that's important because he was being blasphemed so bad, bro. You know, he was being blasphemed crazy. And then the one thing that is I cannot stress enough, Isaiah the prophet had already prophesied that we would be victorious, But at the same time, you could still see that it. So a lot of prophecies we see, they like conditional. They ain't like 100% this will come to pass. But it's like, hey, I am prepared to let this come to pass. I have everything in place, but you still have to do your part. So, it's because Hezekiah prayed to God. That's what God even said. He said, because you prayed to me, this were the words. Then Isaiah, the son of Amos, said to Hezekiah, saying, "Thus says the Lord, because you have prayed to me against Sennacherib, king of Assyria, this is the word which the Lord has spoken concerning him. Because you have prayed to me." So to me, I'm like, if I take that literal, that showed me that God was like, "Bro, I could help you, but you need to come to me, petition on behalf." You know what I'm saying? It's like some things we have not because we ask not, like how the song say. And it's like I guess the text says the two, you have not because you ask not, ask and you shall receive XYZ, And yeah, so God, it was like he had already prophesied that this was gonna happen, but at the same time, you need to do your part, bro. And a lot of times we see that happening, like in with Nineveh, the same city that Sennacherib from. God had already prophesied that Nineveh was going to be destroyed. Jonah had already came and say 40 days and y'all would be overturned. And guess what? 40 days later, they was not overturned. You see what I'm saying? Why is that? Because
They
they
repented.
repented. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of these things, it's conditional, a lot of these prophecies. And when people do their part, we see God come into place. And when people don't, you know what I'm saying? We see what happens.
Man, so like this whole chapter reminds me of something that we're gonna get to in Isaiah 55. There's a famous line. His word will not return to me void.
Or, yeah.
And think about it, right? God say, I'm gonna send a rumor to even get the rob from out of here.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So now Hey out of here, they hear Ethiopia about to attack them from the south. He gone. Yo, why leave the king? The king ain't even I gotta go find the king someplace else. And now they saying, bro, the rob ain't even come back. Bro, we just gonna send a letter now to Hezekiah.
Mhm.
There's one day now God saying, all right, outside of this, bro, they ain't even gonna seize y'all. They ain't even gonna fire an arrow at y'all. The
Mm.
king ain't even gonna set foot in y'all city.
Mm.
But he gonna return home the way he came, and he gonna die at home by his own sword.
Boy, by
And
his own
so
sword.
sad, so done.
Well done, yeah. And it's interesting because in verse 35, what God say? I will defend this city to save it for my own sake
For my own
and for
sake.
my servant David's sake. Promises that he gave to David, promises that he has made, you know what I'm saying, I plan to keep. And so that even kind of contradict my last point of like, oh, it's conditional. I feel like it happened that way because Hezekiah prayed unto God, but at the end of the day, it was going to happen. And that made me think that had Hezekiah prayed to God, even before all this happened, they
Mm-hmm.
could avoid these, these things happening.
Bro,
Like,
let's even think about it, bro. From Ahaz's time, God was like, I said respectfully, right? But God was itching to save y'all, bro.
yeah.
He was like practically God was like begging y'all to let him save y'all. Like, bro, I'm gonna give you a sign. Ask for a sign. No, you know what? Well, I'm gonna still give you a sign, bro. Like, no, like these people talking nasty towards me.
Mm-hmm.
They blaspheming me. This bigger than y'all.
Yeah.
But y'all don't want to trust me. Y'all want to go to Egypt. Y'all want to make a deal with the Assyrians. Y'all doing all these other things versus when y'all should just be coming to me because I really, really want to show these people what's up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? God say, oh, for my own sake, I doing this.
Right.
Telling me I can't save my people?
And,
Come
and, I,
on.
and I think that's important too, because it's like when he prophesied to Ahaz, he was saying, bro, y'all gonna get beat up a little bit, bro, but y'all not gonna be destroyed, right? And that's a promise. But the irony of it is that y'all getting beat up because y'all was worshiping idols. So
Exactly.
it's like, it ain't like, oh, just pray to God and I can take it away, because no, this is literally punishment. This is punishment, bro. Y'all are being punished. But I'm telling you, you're not being punished. You're not definitively being punished, right? But at the same time, when Hezekiah prayed, now Hezekiah was one righteous guy and he cleaned up the city for what it's worth, right? But there's still a lot of bad, decades of bad that had been happening. Did y'all deserve to be saved? No, because I already promised to punish y'all because of what y'all did in the past, and that's why y'all being punished. However, I am still going to save y'all, not because y'all have been good, but because I am good for my sake.
Mm-hmm.
Because David was good. And I promised David to do this for David's sake, right? Because the descendant of David will be the Messiah. And if I allow his line to get erased, then I would have essentially broken my promise. You see what I'm saying? So I am going to make sure that y'all get straight. But at the same time, y'all still got to do your part. Y'all making it so hard for me, bro. Like I gotta work, and it's nothing too hard for God. But it's like I have to work under these very confined parameters because y'all choose to rebel. You know what I'm saying? And truly just lean on to your own understandings and to Egypt understanding, to Lebanon understanding, Ethiopia understanding, to Assyria understanding. That's why we in this. That's why we in this mess, bro. I thought the book of Isaiah, because chapter 1. Remember they was talking about how what was it? They was talking about how they strayed away, and your sins be a scarlet, they should be white as snow. Is that chapter 1? I can't remember. But it was something. It was kind of like a come to Jesus moment because y'all have done so bad. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all, what it say? To what purpose is the multitude of your sacrifices to me, says the Lord? I have had enough of the burnt offerings of rams and of the fat of cattle. I do not delight in the blood of bulls or the lamb of goats. He goes on to say, bring no more of these sacrifices, no more than new moons, the Sabbaths, or whatever. When you spread your hands, I will hide my eyes from you. Even though you make prayers, I will not hear. Your hands are full of blood, right? So that's the point where God had already came, had already been with them, And then verse 6 it says, "Wash yourselves." The following verse 16 it says, "Wash yourselves, make yourselves clean, put away the evil of your doings from before my eyes." That's what I'm talking about. Not the Oh yeah, and then in verse 18 it say, "Come now and let us reason together, says the Lord. Though your sins are like scarlet, they shall be white as snow. Though they are red like crimson, they shall be as wool." If you are willing and obedient, you shall eat the good of the land. But if you refuse and rebel, you shall be devoured by the sword. This is a conditional promise. If you do this, then that. This is an if-then function. As we do a lot of them in Microsoft Excel. If this, then that. You catch what I'm saying? And so it's like, if you are righteous or if you are willing and obedient, you will eat good of the land. And Hezekiah knows they were at risk of not eating good of the land. And it's kind of not even for Hezekiah and his generations doing, but it was more so because of the generations before him, or at least even the one generation before him that had been so evil. God said, but y'all so evil that even when y'all doing good, I just detest this, bro. Let's imagine somebody, I ain't just put us in this situation, but imagine a couple, A and B, and A just cheat on B so much. A just cheat and cheat and cheat and cheat, right? And radar and B know they is cheat. And A still is coming, kiss them. I love you, baby. Them words mean nothing, bro. That I love you, that this and that I don't delight in that, bro, because you showing me you don't love me, bro. You know what I'm saying? And that was the state of Israel during this time. And because of chapter 1 of Isaiah, I when I read Isaiah, I used to read it saying, bro, yeah, God just so frustrated. And so their righteousness had become filthy rags. And that was like one of the pivotal moments. But I see that even in between there's so much hate. It don't have to be like this. Hey, it's going to get bad. It don't have to be. Hey, it's so much hate. I am trying to warn you all of how bad this could get. Catch on, bro. Do right. And Hezekiah, during this time, they actually did get it right.
When Hezekiah hears the Assyrian threats, he tore his clothes, put on sackcloth, and went to the temple to pray for God's help. He sent his officials to the prophet Isaiah, who delivers the message that Assyria will not conquer Jerusalem because the Lord himself will defend the city. Meanwhile, the Assyrian king is sending a letter to Hezekiah that mocks God and declares that he will be victorious. But lo and behold, that very night, the angel of the Lord struck down 185,000 Assyrian soldiers, forcing Sennacherib, the king of Assyria, to retreat to Nineveh, where he is later assassinated by his own sons, just as God had prophesied that it would happen. But we'll talk more about the prophecies in Isaiah on the next episode of A Breath of Fresh Air. Tonight's episode included voice acting by your host, Nakhaz. Remember to go ahead and research on your own in order to get a more firm understanding of tonight's episode. And if you enjoyed it, make sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. You can follow us on social media at A Breath of Fresh Air Pod on Instagram and BOFAPOD on Twitter. Thanks everyone, and we'll see you next week.